Welcome to Half Full and a Cup of Joe with Joe Fulford, the show that's always overflowing with optimism and caffeine. Joe's got his game face on and his coffee cup full, ready to dive into the world of football. From the Florida Gators to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and beyond to college and NFL football, Joe's got the analysis, the insights, and the passion to get you pumped up and ready for the game. So sit back, relax, and fill up your cup with Joe. And now from West Des Moines, Iowa, here is Joe Fulford.
Boy. Yeah, here we go, people. I gotta tell you, it's kind of that's kind of the way to get this thing going, with everything that has happened the last few days. I mean, it's just been a whirlwind. I mean, I'm almost to the point of exhaustion after everything that transpired this weekend. And I'm not just, and I gotta say, for the first time in quite a while, I wasn't that interested in the Bucs game. Yeah, I saw it, and we'll talk more about that a little bit later on the broadcast. But my mind and my attention was focused on the events that happened Sunday in the world of college football. And let me tell you, it was crazy. It was unique. I don't think I can recall in the history of college football when we had so many coaches hired in one day. Then again, we never had this many coaches looking for jobs. And coaches are still being hired even as we speak. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to this edition, Half Full Cup of Joe. You're surely the animal, bringing it with you on a beautiful, beautiful Thursday night where it is just cold here. I mean, it is freezing. I mean, and I'm not kidding you. I mean, temperature's like 1 degree. We're not kidding. I mean, I'm serious when we say it's literally 1 degree right now. Cold attack. But the world of college football, it is hot as all get out. And the temperature was rising on Sunday. We're going to talk about all of that. Rob Brown of SEC Inside is going to join me. Lauren Meadows will join me for just a little bit before he gets ready to go on with his probably on with Buddy Martin a little bit later on tonight. Luderman unable to join me. He's copping out. He wants to coach volleyball. Volleyball? It's football, dude. What about my volleyball? No, but I love Ludy, and he's an awesome guy. But Rob Brown's going to join me in a little bit, and we're going to discuss everything that's happened in the world of college football. I got to tell you, though, the Lane Kiffin saga and all this that happened was unfreaking believable. In fact, let me go ahead and let me take you to a week ago. Yeah, probably about a week ago today, when everything really started building up. Now, in order to get you where we're at, you have to go back a little bit further. And it started when the Florida Gators had lost to South Florida. Now, in the eyes of many people, that was not that was not a loss that was acceptable. And I can tell you that through people that I've talked to and things that I've heard, that loss, that the South Florida game, was the beginning of the end for Billy Napier. that is when the wheels in motion started turning for the dismissal of Billy Napier. Now you go throughout the course of the season, they win at Texas, then they lose the next game, and then that's when the firing took place. Scott Strickland, athletic director, brings in a search firm, turnkey, and he decides that they're going to hire a firm to find out who the next coach is going to be. Obviously, the top one on the list was going to be Lane Kiffin. Many people believed that it was going to be Lane Kiffin. And as the process was coming along, there were these rumors floating in and out. Lane signed, no, he hasn't signed. Lane signed, no, he hasn't signed. And as the discussion was taking place, a decision was being rendered by Ole Miss, telling them that Lane Kiffin had a deadline to set. That it had to be at the Egg Bowl when he decides when he was going to they had to make a decision. The Egg Bowl comes. The game takes place. Nothing happens. Come Friday, a lot of discussion takes place. Nothing is happening. And while the Lane Kiffin saga was taking place, people at the University of Florida were going to be focused their attention on a different coach. Some guy by the name of John Summerall. I never heard of the guy. Come to find out he was the head coach at Tulane. Great. Another G5 coach. That's all Florida needs. Another G5 coach. Now, this started happening on Friday. Now, what we didn't know at the time, and this is being reported by Rob Brown of SEC Sidelines through a source of him, who confirmed that Kiffin had already signed the contract for LSU. And he signed it on a Tuesday. So mind you, by the time Thursday rolls around and Gary Condren, who's a big booster, sits on the board of trustees at the University of Florida, makes some ridiculous comments about Lane Kiffin. People were very upset by that. At the same time, Florida decides, okay, we're going to move on. We're going to move into John Summerall. By Saturday afternoon, things were getting ramped up pretty heavily. And what we started to find out was the fact that Summerall was being courted by other teams, including Auburn, and Ole Miss was making a stab at Summerall. Okay? Now, Summerall's had a pretty good track record, but he still was a G5 coach. By Sunday morning, the Gators make their announcement. Summerall becomes head coach, and that's that. Billboards, and not billboards, but chat rooms started lighting things up. They were pissed. They were upset. Oh my God, we got another G5 coach. I'm not donating to this school anymore. My money's going to go elsewhere. I'm not going to spend another dime at the University of Florida. I'm so damn pissed. That's what these chat boards were saying. At the same time, the Lane Kiffin saga is taking place. Keith Carter, the athletic director at Ole Miss, he's trying to meet with Lane Kiffin because Kiffin wants to coach in the postseason. He's already told Ole Miss that he's going to LSU, but he still wants to coach. And even allegedly made a demand, people, that if Lane Kiffin could not coach in a bowl game, he would make it his mission that either all of my coaches that's on my staff right now at Ole Miss either comes with me on my plane, or you can forget about it. The only person that flew on that plane was his brother, and I believe Charlie Weiss Jr., who since then has gotten permission to go back home and coach LSU and their playoff game. By the way, my chat room's open, So if you'd like to comment, put some comments on there, whether it be on Facebook, X, or YouTube. Put your comments in there and I'll post them. Be more happy to answer your questions on anything that you may have. And the whole Lane Kiffin saga took on a new twist throughout the whole day. Okay. And while Florida, they're just silently typing up. Scott Burns is probably the SID at the University of Florida, or Director of Communications now. He's typing out the media release. He's typing out that media release about John Summerall. All the while, the drama is building in Ole Miss. They refuse to. Lane Kiffin refused to coach in the game. Bye-bye, Lane. That's what Ole Miss and Keith Carter told him. So Lane Kiffin meets them at the terminal. He has that interview with Marty Smith of ESPN. Long interview. Gets on a plane, and there were fans at Ole Miss saying that they wanted to send him off with the generous saying that you're really number one. Not this number one, but another one. I'm going to show you what that was. Oh my God! It was so entertaining to watch. I've not had more fun in one day watching a drama unfold in that fashion. It was funny. And the players at Ole Miss, they were mad. They were upset. And they decide that, you know what, we want Peterson, I believe his name was. I don't know if anybody knows what it is. Comment on in the chat room. Who's a defensive coordinator. They just didn't name him interim coach, people. They decided to make him the permanent coach at Ole Miss. And he'll be coaching Ole Miss in the playoffs when that announcement comes out next week. But I just found the whole thing to be just funny as all get out over everything that happened. Ron Brown's supposed to join me here in just a little bit. Let's see if he's linking me. You know, I can't find him. You know, let's see. Might be running a little bit late. You tell me he's pick up the spot and pick things up a little bit, you know. And as we go along through this whole process, we're going on through everything, you know. By nightfall, LSU has their head coach. Alec Golish leaves USF to go to Auburn. Best of luck to, and I'm going to say this right now, best of luck to Alex Golish. I have no hard feelings about Golish going to another team, wanting to make himself better, wanting to make his life better. And USF, I think in a lot of ways, USF wanted to as well. They knew what they were getting. And as we're going through this whole process, Golish gets named, a couple coaches other gets named. I mean, it was a wild day. And the chat boards in the gate, and even in Discord and High Top Sports, everybody was upset by it. They were like, what the heck is Scott Strickland doing? Scott Strickland should be fired over all this. But as we find out through the process, not getting Lane Kiffin and getting a guy like John Summerall might have been the best thing that ever happened to the University of Florida. Come Monday night, Summerall meets the media. And I got to tell you, people, I know it's just one press conference, but the guy won me over in more ways than you could ever imagine. And he not only said the right things, he understands them. He understands what it's about. And to some degree, I think John Summerall feels the frustrations of what's happening with this team. and wants to make it better. And he's already started making moves, and we'll discuss all that in just a minute. He already has his defensive coordinator and his offensive coordinator as well. Blew it away on Monday night. Just blew it away and did one hell of an outstanding job. And it was, and the more you heard him speak, if you were a player, I think you would just want to run, just play for this guy. And it was just a great press conference. But here is the thing about it. He gets done with his press conference. He moves right away and starts meeting with his class, Gator class for 2026, the recruits. Meets with them on Monday night and another few on Tuesday. Holds another press conference with Tulane media, talking about their game and them getting ready for North Texas State Saturday night. Talk more about that with Ron Brown in just a minute. And in the end, thanks to Katie Turner and company, are able to hold on to all of their recruiting class, okay? And they come away right now with the number 15 team in the country. And as I bring in Ron Brown on this very cold Tuesday night in Des Moines, Iowa, I don't know what I'm more impressed with. The press conference, the hiring of Brad White, defensive coordinator from Kentucky, and just about an hour ago, Brent Faulkner, the offensive coordinator from Georgia Tech. I don't know if I'm more impressed by that, by keeping his recruits intact and signing a very good recruiting class, or hitting out of the ballpark. I mean, Ronnie, Rob, I'm just blown away by all this.
Well, I mean, I'm not surprised. That's the guy that I wanted at Auburn because I'm friends with one of his very close friends. And John Hartwell, I mean, the minute the Auburn job came open, he wanted it. Auburn, from what I'm told, and it's pretty reliable, was trying to put too much on him. Like, you've got to keep, this coach and that coach and a couple of administrative people. And he's like, no, if I'm the coach, I've got to make my hires. And if the ship goes down, it's going to be with my people, with my crew. And so he kind of fell in Florida's lap. And Auburn, I think, got a good one in Golish. I think both schools came out on top. You've got big time billion. I know the brands of Florida and Auburn are both, according to the Wall Street Journal, worth over $1 billion. Those are big brands. And they're still drawing big TV numbers, by the way. Yeah. In spite of just garbage football the last few years. Garbage football. And anyone that tries to say, this is Billy Napier 2.0, I mean, not even, look, just because Billy Napier worked under Dabo, worked under Saban, that's great. I was wrong, dead wrong this year, thinking Florida could win 10 games. Not because Billy Napier's a great coach. I thought the talent was there. But you just had a dysfunctional outfit. It was just that it wasn't any good. Your first instincts about Billy Napier were low energy, hard worker, but low energy. John Summerall, I mean, I've followed him. He's been a head coach 4 years. Not bad, though. All 4 years he's played for his conference championship, okay? And you know what? Silverfield at Arkansas, Summerall at Florida, Golish at Auburn. These are the coaches that have worked their way up. They've coached some of them in the NFL, the SEC. The American Conference is the breeding ground, the training ground, the proving ground for the future coaches. You don't go find a great coach. They're not listed like that, in the yellow pages to reference a dated term, but they're not listed. You have to find them. Good thing the agent for Summerall and the agent for Golish at Auburn is Clint Dowdle, who used to work with Jimmy Sexton, but left him 2 years ago. Clint is a good guy. Good agent, squared away guy. I know his dad. I mean, I know him, trying to get him on the show. He's kind of busy right now. But I think to sum it
Hello.
up, look, what's going to happen? Florida, I mean, it's almost like Florida got a self-imposed death penalty. It's been so bad the last few years. But you know what?
Yeah.
Looking back at Dan Mullen, 3 New Year's, 6 bowls, his first 3 years. And then that year he says something about, we'll talk about recruiting when it's recruiting season.
Oh,
Shouldn't have said
gosh.
that. People panicked, and look what that got you. Don't take the food out of the oven before it's ready. That's what coaching is all about. But again, and I know several people that are in the coach search business. Don't read too much or not enough, because if you think you see something that's a problem, it is. If a guy can't count the number of guys on the field coming on or off, it's a problem. Like Lauren Meadows said, he's not going to get an offensive coordinator. That's stubborn, hard-headed, bullheaded. I'm not saying Billy Napier's not a good guy. I know coaches that know him. He seems like a stand-up guy. But for whatever reason, what he did at Florida just didn't work. I mean,
No.
this year, DJ Lagway went backwards. That shouldn't have happened.
You know what was amazing about the way everything unfolded, and we talked about this, and I talked about it during my introductory a moment ago, how there was a phone call by Booster that got leaked, and that Booster has since resigned. But the call got leaked, and it revealed some very interesting things, including the fact that after that South Florida game, motions was in place to get Billy Napier to dismiss, and some other things that were said that was very interesting. But I just find it amazing how Scott Strickland got run through the mud through all this, and in the end, he comes out really and truthfully shining like a rose in all this, despite everything that happened, because everybody wanted Lane. Everybody wanted Lane. Everybody wanted Lane. Then we have all this drama that unfolded, and I'm thinking to myself, who the hell would want anybody like that to come to the University of Florida? Make no mistake about it. Strickland got an A1 coach to take over.
Well, Lane Kiffin's a great football coach. That's
there's no doubt. No, I'm not.
That's all you can say about it. But remember, Yancey Porter said, Rebel Yell Hotline, there's no way in hell Kiffin's going to go to Florida with Scott Strickland as the AD, because Strickland got his brother Chris a show cause when Strickland was the AD at Mississippi State. That was not forgotten. And the story that we broke, I guess it was 5 weeks ago, 6 years, $81 million, 13.5 a year, guaranteed by an attorney group in Orlando, shall remain nameless. But then it went to 10 for 150. But I think what you got to remember, and I know a lot about the Kiffin Ole Miss stuff because I've got so many people that cover Ole Miss in depth for us. He did not report to Keith Carter, the AD there. And he did not want to report to Scott Strickland at Florida. He doesn't go to booster events.
Gosh.
He doesn't do stuff like that. He is so introverted. He doesn't have any friends in Oxford. He didn't have relationships with people. That's what call him a football savant or whatever you want. But Frank Duffy on our show reported 2.5 weeks ago, it's a done deal. Kiffin's going to LSU.
Yeah, he said that on your show, I believe on Monday. I think it was Frank Duffy or Pete.
He came on Monday briefly, but he said it 2.5 weeks ago.
But he came, but Pete Cordelli.
Pete Cordelli.
Pete Cordelli reported on Monday on your show that a deal was in place on Tuesday.
Yeah, it was.
Okay, so if a deal wasn't in place on Tuesday, and then as Gary Condren comes out with all these comments about Lane Kiffin, everybody gets in an uproar, then they move on to Summerall. I'm kind of wondering if Condren didn't have word that Kiffin's contract was already signed. I mean, I don't know. Condren's one of these loose kind of people. He'll say something out of the ordinary that stirs up the Florida boosters like you wouldn't believe. But I'm just wondering, maybe Condren didn't have something to make these comments to want Florida to shift their way to Summerall, which I am so glad they did. Because look, I am so damn impressed by what I saw. I mean, it blows me away, Rob.
Well, Summerall, I mean, John Hartwell's known him since he was in high school at Grissom High School in Huntsville, Alabama. Played at Kentucky. I thought that was pretty cool. Buddy Martin asked, I believe, the last question in the introductory press conference Monday in Gainesville about how he handled his career in football coming to an end after he had an injury. It was a back, maybe a back or a spine injury. What a great question by Buddy, but would you expect anything less? And I think Buddy's going to have access. We're going to make John's going to help out, make sure Buddy has access to, John Summerall. John, I think it's an excellent hire. He ain't going to hang around. He Silverfield, Golish. These are 4:00 guys. They're in the office at 4 a.m. Okay, they make great duck hunters, but that's what they're going to do. Florida needs an infusion of work and energy. And, when you're working people like rented mules, make sure it's fun. I asked Shane Matthews one time, I said, Shane, what would Steve Spurrier say to the team before you ran out of the tunnel? He'd say, hey, do what we do. Let's go out there and throw the ball around and let's have fun. We've worked for this. This is what we trained for. It's what we prepared for. So you can't overanalyze everything. And there's too much of that going on. You call it in the financial services industry, picking stocks, bonds, whatever, paralysis by analysis. And it's what a lot of people do. They're overthinking very simple stuff. And this bull BS, you can't coach these kids hard. Yes, you can. And if they can't be coached hard, get other kids. You cannot lower the standard to be their friends. They don't want that. Every kid I talk to in the SEC, whenever I'm around at media days, at a game or whatever, they're like, yes, sir, we want to be pushed hard. So to get that out the window. The problem we got is the offensive lines. We've got, as Matt Stinchcomb said on our show, 7-on-7 football. I asked him about that. He said, yeah, it's pajama football. You've got to get back to those big steamrolling offensive lines. That's where football's hurt. But the lack of continuity, if you don't have a good 2 years together, it's very hard to build a dominant or even close to dominant offensive line.
Yes, I totally, and I so agree with everything you're saying. And speaking of offensive line, Florida's got a couple of good ones in the 2026 recruiting class. Yeah. 15 to 16 players. 3 of them offensive linemen. I think 2 of them are like 330 pounds, 6'8", 6'9" guys. I mean, that's huge. But
bigger than I am.
Just a little bit, Rob. Just a little bit,
Just a little bit.
But I look at it and I say to myself, this is a guy who was hired on Sunday, worked his tail off to keep these recruits here. Not only that, but trying to keep current players here. And if you listen to the comments of Dallas Wilson, even DJ Lagway and several other guys, it sounds like these are players that are ready to stay. And with the announcement of these 2 coordinators, which we'll talk about in just a minute, I can't help but think to myself, Summerall's got a good foundation for what could be a good few years here at Florida. By the way, let me go ahead and let me tell the people what we're talking about, because on Tuesday, Kentucky, Summerall was able to nab defensive coordinator Brad White from Kentucky. That was on Tuesday, I believe. Then, within the past 2 to 3 hours, we come to find out Brent Faulkner from Georgia Tech is going to be the offensive coordinator. I don't know much about the 2, so I'm going to let you have the floor and tell the people who these coaches are.
Well, Brad White is a guy that's been on the radar for very smart football people know this. He's the one who's shut down Kiffin and Kirby Smart's Georgia teams for several years now, going up to Lexington, KY. I think he's a really bright-minded, defensive coach. Great get by Summerall. Chip Kelly had been rumored to be interested, maybe, but look at Georgia Tech's offense. Now, their defense was just a dumpster fire this year. They ended up 9-3. But Georgia Tech with Haynes King, the quarterback, they're that's a prolific offense. Granted, they're playing in the ACC, but it doesn't matter. When you got a good offense and a good offensive mind, you're going to be successful anywhere. And I'm with Dave Bartu, College Football Matrix, who's on our show a lot. Strength of schedule is so overrated. I mean, look at Ohio State. Their strength of schedule is not that high. They could beat anybody in the country. I don't know about Indiana, but I know that when you look at strength of schedule, don't read too much into it. Speaking of that, Joe, Bob, the Bob Eubanks, the dating game imitation by Hunter Yurachek, the AD at Arkansas, that's horrible. The college football playoff committee, they're saying making diametrically opposing arguments the whole time they're talking. We're not really looking at the schedule. Then we did look at it. What are you doing?
I know. I'm kind of, they're talking about Doc and Ole Miss because they have a different coach. That's not what it's about.
Remember they did.
Oh my gosh, they did that years ago, right?
No, they did it 2 years ago to Florida State. The most costly injury in Florida State football history was against the University of North Alabama Lions out of Florence, Alabama, when Jordan Travis was injured. Because that subsequently led to them not getting in the playoffs with a 13-0 record. And 31 players on that Seminole team quit. Mike Norvell, it was, mutiny on the bounty. It was horrible. He's never been able to gain control of it. I know someone on that staff that's my youngest daughter's age. It is a dumpster fire.
We
right
want to
now,
talk, and I want to get into more about that in just a few minutes. Mm-hmm. But Faulkner and the key offensive, defensive coordinators, respectively, I look at these two hires, and from everything I'm gathering, I hear nothing but positive things for this team. Talk a little bit about, I don't know much about Faulkner. Talk about him and what he brings to this Gators offense.
Quick up-tempo, speed, a sense of urgency, an actual plan, energy, life, new ideas. Look, there are a lot of good offensive coordinators who script the first 16 plays, and they look really good. And then the other team's defensive coordinator, a la Jeremy Pruitt, who I think's the best living defensive coordinator in America, he and Kirby Smart. By the way, Jeremy Pruitt is now an analyst at Jacksonville State University in Alabama.
I was wondering whatever happened to him.
Well, he went back and helped his dad coach in Alabama. His dad's been coaching forever. I think Jeremy Pruitt, he reminds me of Shatner in the original movie, The Longest Yard with Burt Reynolds, the bald guy who was in shackles and they wanted him to play football. And he said, nah. They said, you get to hit the guards. He goes, yeah, I'm in. I think Jeremy's a great recruiter.
Yeah, I think so too.
He ruffled a lot of feathers at Georgia in 14 and 15 when he said they're not tough enough over here. And a lot of people went after him. But he did. Look at Georgia now with Kirby Smart. They'll get after your ass for a full 60. I want to tell you something about John Summerall. You got a Kirby Smart type of individual. That's what you got. I know a lot about him. I've followed him for a long time. When he played at Kentucky, like you said, I was a very average player who became the best, very average player I could be. Gets hurt. How about that story? Brendan referenced it, on a call we had this afternoon. He's down on the beach in Destin in the Panhandle, L.A., Lower Alabama, as they call it, drinking a cold beer. And he gets a call from Kentucky. Hey, man, you want to come up here and coach? He's like,
I heard this story, yeah.
He goes, yeah, but I'm in no condition to drive right now. But you're going to love him at Florida. Florida is, I say this every week, Florida's not Naples, Palm Beach, Vero Beach. It is, but their Gator fans are just like Auburn and Alabama and Georgia and Tennessee and LSU fans. They're the same people. They're good old boys, good old guys. They are, most of them from small towns, and they love the Gators, they've been pushed to the curb for a while. You know who started the populist movement for the Florida fan base like nobody else ever was Charlie Pell in 1979.
Oh,
Hey,
yes.
doesn't matter if
Oh,
you
God
went to
bless
school
his
here or
soul,
not.
yes.
Just come here. He got blamed for everything, including world famine and drought. But
Oh,
you
my
know what?
God.
He woke up Florida
Yes, he
and
did.
in a way that nobody else had ever been able to. Remember, they had one coach in the 50s, one in the 60s, and one in the 70s. You get a 10-year run. He comes in there in 79. That first year goes 0-10-1. But by 82 and 83 and 84 and 85, they're number one in the country. You know, and I just you look at Florida, and it's just like they get rolling, and then they fall. I mean, the lack of incompetence. You don't hire an offensive coordinator. What do you expect if you own a restaurant and you want to be the maitre d' and the head chef? You're going to burn a lot of food. Gator fans have been burned. They're tired of it. They're going to love Summerall. They're going to love this guy.
What really amazes me is how quick he was able not to put an offensive and defensive coordinator get together, but how firm he was able to hold the 2026 recruiting class together as of tonight. Let's see. But by the way, I said Brett Faulkner. His name is Buster Faulkner. Yeah, offensive coordinator.
How about that name, Buster?
Buster, baby.
Damn
Buster,
right there.
baby.
Buster up the middle. And here come the Florida Gator. Oh, my. God almighty. Well, now you got Sean Kelly and Shane Matthews, a great play-by-play and color. Shane Matthews, when you listen to Florida Gator football, Shane's 3 or 4 plays ahead of every play.
That's what I hear.
He's
awesome. I've had him on my. Shane is fabulous at what he does.
Brilliant.
And don't get me wrong, I love Sean Kelly. He's been on my show a few times. I love to get him on my show again if I'm able to.
Yep.
But nobody does it the best like Mick Hubert. I love Mick Hubert. I mean, and Sean brings a different variety of his own, and it's great. I love him, but there's still nobody like, oh my, 58-yard reception, the way Mick Hubert would do.
Well, how about another great one? Dean Deckerhoff, Florida State Seminole football. Chief Osceola in the end zone with Renegade and the spear, and he'll come to midfield. And this crowd at Doak S. Campbell Stadium will rise to their feet. Florida State football. And then you got Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
There you go. Now you're talking.
But he would do Saturday, Sunday, Florida State and Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I mean, was he there back when John McKay was there in 1979?
No.
When they went winless?
He never, I don't think he never came on till maybe during or 87 during the Ray Perkins era. And since that time, he's been nothing but fantastic. There are rumors that this might be his last year on the radio. Which I look. I can understand. I don't know if that's going to happen, but there are rumors that this indeed might be his last year. He's not doing Florida State radio anymore. That's being done by somebody else, and I don't really care about that. And I want to talk about Florida State in just a minute.
Yeah. But
I mean, but Gene Deckerhoff, I'll always remember him as being the voice of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Yep.
Nobody like him. Nobody ever liked him.
Yeah.
So now we're at a point where we're for the SEC championship game this weekend. Alabama, Georgia should be a great ball game. I think both teams are evenly matched. You know, I don't see one team dominating the other. And I'll be quite honest with you, Rob. I think Alabama has as good a chance as any at beating Georgia.
I picked preseason Georgia.
I know that hurts you, but
Georgia play Alabama. I thought Bama would win the regular season. Now they've won 10 of the last 11 against Georgia. Mm-hmm. But I got Georgia winning Saturday. I think Georgia's playing their best football right now. They've played all season. Alabama is a banged up team. Jam Miller, I doubt he'll play. They can't run the ball well at all. Offensive line, Georgia on game day. That's when the matchups matter the most. But I'm picking Georgia to win, regardless. Both of those teams are in the playoffs. That's not even up for debate. But I want to get to another thing. Vanderbilt. Okay. The loss to Texas, down 34-10. And all of a sudden it's 34-31 in the onside kick. They barely missed it at the end. And then they lost to Alabama 30-14. So, dadgummit, if they're going to put some of these other teams in there, Vanderbilt has earned it. And at the very least, Diego Pavia is the Heisman Trophy winner. He doesn't have a conference championship game to play in this weekend. Fernando Mendoza from Miami does. Seems like, by all accounts, a great kid. From Miami, grandparents came up here from Cuba to America. It's the American dream. And, Diego Pavia, his mom.
I'm gonna be so disappointed if Diego doesn't get the Heisman.
Yeah, and his mom.
I mean, I think
his mom's family's from Spain. His father's family from Mexico. If you know anything about the Southwest, Albuquerque, New Mexico, old families in the South we talked about, a couple of 100 years, 150 years. No, 300, 350-year-old families. That's his family. He's been out there, Albuquerque, a long time. It's a cool story. You've got two Hispanics. They're Americans to me. I don't care about all this stuff. But, one's Cuban heritage. The other one's Mexican, Spanish. That's what you see, though, in the Valley, Rio Grande Valley, New Mexico. It's an awesome story. The hell with all that. They're just great football players. But Diego is the whole thing is, and he wants to come back next year. But dadgummit, if we're going to give the Heisman out, who means more to his team than Diego? I haven't seen anyone since Cam Newton or Tebow in 2008.
Wait a minute. You're telling me that Diego Pavia may return next year at Vanderbilt?
He's filed a suit, and I think he's reached out to President Trump. I'm sure that's a top concern at the White House.
Yeah, really. I mean,
hold on a second. Ukraine war, Fed meeting, Jerome Powell, sit still. Yes, Diego. I don't know. I'll think about it.
It just surprises me that the one name that's now on the Heisman ballot that really should shock me is a guy by the name of Lorne Meadows. I mean, you hear about Lorne Meadows
from Ohio. He's from Southeast Ohio.
I mean, a guy that does a great job with the news media,
Southwest
a great
Ohio.
reporter. Southwest Ohio. It's not even listed as candidate for the Heisman Trophy. What's wrong with America, people?
Yeah, I'm we up and down 75 on our end of the spectrum. But man, I mean, I heard you guys. I mean, I think that I mean, if you take Pavia off of Vanderbilt's team, I mean, I agree. I mean, you look at just you talk about the Heisman moments, Mendoza at Penn State, but Diego Pavia last Saturday night, pretty much. I mean, to go into Neyland and perform the way that he did. I mean, does Vanderbilt have a Heisman Trophy winner back when they wouldn't let black kids play? So.
No, 1937, they had a guy. Jay Harvick, I think he got 7th in the final voting. That's it.
That's the highest. Okay.
And they've never won 10 games or more in a season in 133 years.
Wow. Yeah. I mean, it almost, I mean, it's kind of cool because it harkens back to and Rob, you a historian, the days when a guy from Navy would be a candidate for the Heisman or Mr. Inside, Mr. Outside, Doc Blanchard and Glenn Davis. I mean, you got a guy from a high, I mean, Florida's high, but this is really high, a high academic institution. The team is doing well. Yeah. I mean, they'll put foot in almost anybody. And they're probably going to have the Mackey Award winner, too. The tight end's name escapes me, but he's probably going to win the Mackey Award, too. I mean, he probably got the best tight end in the country.
Eli Stowers.
Yeah, Stowers. So yeah, I mean he's tough. He can go. And so,
leave it to Rob with all the names. I mean, this guy's got the hammer.
Well, I mean, I knew, he's a stud, man. I mean, they got some guys, and that's the thing, man. It ain't, I mean, everybody talks about, and here's my thing, and it's something that always gets me is two things. It ain't my Missouri's fault. I mean, the way the schedule goes is the way the schedule goes.
Right.
So you don't get to say, well, look at who Vanderbilt played versus who Florida played. They got 10 wins. You know, Florida couldn't even manage, you know, what, 5. So, I mean, you no matter what the schedule was, you didn't even do halfway good on the schedule. But number 2, when you look at things and people talk about, I always say this. You always look at the recruiting rankings, right? Recruiting rankings. And then they say, well, Ohio State wouldn't be as good if they played in the SEC. Well, the rankings say differently based on their roster. So, you know, I think that like people want to, I love when people talk out of both sides of the spectrum because because Ohio, you see guys at Ohio State, they're picking over Florida, Alabama, Oregon, Clemson, which means they could have gone to those schools and played at that level. They got dudes, and it would be different if they were barely beating Rutgers, but they're hanging 50 on Rutgers. Barely beating Wisconsin, they're hanging 50 on Wisconsin. They're beating those teams the same way that I said all that to say, when you look at a guy like Diego Pavia, it's not his fault that they didn't play, you know, like they didn't play Georgia. You know, people will point to, well, he didn't do this, he didn't do that. Was the same argument for Mendoza. It's not his fault, you know. So when you look at it, like I agree with Rob, that's where I'm getting to. What do you mean to your team? And when you look at Diego Pavia, my thing is he will probably win the award really based on his body of work over the last 2 years as opposed to this year as a whole. When you look at just, you take him out of the picture, they're not, I mean, I don't think they're the same football team.
No, and I agree. I agree with you on that. He is Rob Brown. He is Rob Brown of SEC Sidelines. Lauren Meadows of the Lowdown with Lauren Meadows, where every Tuesday night, 9 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. Central on Facebook Live. Does a great job. Thank you for allowing me to be on your show, even though I got insulted. But that's okay. I love you.
Who insulted you?
No. And let me explain.
We are more. We got to keep things, man. My producer, man, about 9:57, he starts rolling that music, man. So you produce and you got you like Prince, man. You produce, you write, you sing, you do it all. I'm like Tony Braxton. I let Babyface write all the hits, and I just show up and talk. So when Babyface Brendan was about to cut me off, so we couldn't stay on longer than
no.
Yeah, you good.
I wasn't talking about that.
I'm just messing with you.
I know. And let me talk about, first of all, if you guys get a chance, go to YouTube and check out Ali Peak. She had a one-on-one interview with Danny Wolfel, and it was the most. It was, and for those that don't know, Danny Wolfel, former Heisman Trophy winner, was part of the process in hiring the new head coach. And Danny Wolfel provides some excellent insight into how everything happened. Now, as I discussed with Lauren the other night on his show, I talked about this phone call that happened, and at least from the way I'm seeing things. And Lauren's going to disagree with me on this, and that's fine. We have difference of opinion, but this whole Gary Condren deal, him making this thing about Lane Kiffin and setting the world on fire, really pissed off some people within Florida Victoria. So much so there was a conference call, and with a group of people, the phone call got released. The guy resigned from Florida Victorious, but through that phone call, Lauren, it kind of sensed to me that Gary Condren is running the UF program and not Scott Strickland. I mean, I could be wrong by that. I probably am. But it just, from the way it sounded, and you listen to that, that's what I took away. That's what I took away from that.
Well, I'm gonna say it this way, and you might be right. I kind of disagree because I think
that's fine.
And I think that here's the thing: Gary Condren is important to the University of Florida, and here's
$15 million a year. Yeah,
but not only that, like I said, we can't have our cake. You can't have it both ways. He can't be the enemy, and his name is on the indoor facility. His name is on the ballpark, and he don't have to give a dime. So to hold him accountable, there's a lot of millionaires, billionaires that Florida has in tow that don't give what Gary Condren does. So, you do have to listen to your money people, because that's the money that those are people that are giving the money that helps you get the different things that you got. But here's the other thing, Rob, how many times do you hear when the coach ain't winning, they don't say Scott Strickland ain't going to stand for that. They don't say, oh, Lauren Meadows, who has 4 seats in row 2, section 23, he ain't going to stand for that. They say, oh, the boosters ain't going to stand for that. Yeah. So if the boosters matter now, then why you upset that they matter? If they mattered then, and when you wanted Napier fired and all that, why don't they matter now? They were going to have a say in Billy Napier being fired. They were going to have a say in the next head coach. Now, regardless of what Danny Werfel says, Ali Peak says, Lauren Meadows says, Rob Brown says, Animal says, you guys know what I've said for 4 years under Billy Napier. And I've said it about every coach, but we've talked about it here. I don't care about Gator Made. I don't care about Florida Victorious. I don't care about John Summerall. I don't care about Billy Napier. I don't care about DJ Lagway. What matters, and this is what Florida needs to get to, and this is the difference between Oregon and Ohio State and Michigan and some of these others, and Alabama, and Rob can even say at one time Auburn.
Yeah.
12 Saturdays in the fall. It does not matter about Gary Condren. It don't matter about John Summerall. It don't matter about Lane Kiffin.
Yeah.
Until and I can say this because I'm from there and I know people.
Yeah,
there.
I know. Yeah.
At Ohio State, the fluff don't matter. At Notre Dame, the fluff don't matter. All that is fluff. Can John Summerall get 85 guys to prepare Monday through Friday to play in the league's toughest schedule? The league's toughest, we're not the toughest schedule anymore. The league's toughest conference at its most, where it is the most equal. Florida beat Texas, who then in turn beat Vanderbilt, who then in turn beat Texas A&M. There's your parity there. You better buckle up every week. And I don't care if you go to France and drink wine and find that that's going to make you a better 40-year-old.
Yes, it is.
But it ain't going to matter when Marcel Reed breaks for the go-ahead touchdown on 3rd and 12 in the SEC championship game, and Miles Graham has to make that tackle that will change his life. That's what you got to talk about. And nobody's talking about the football, Rob. I think, and that's what's frustrating to me, is everything. They want to make a reason why Lane didn't or did come, or why John Summerall is or isn't here, or who. We have for 4 years gone under this cloak about kids being nice kids. Rob, you know the mamas and daddies. You know the kids. 99% of them are nice kids. Yes. Don't give Billy credit for raising your kids.
Yeah.
They nice kids. We got to get back to holding the thing that is most important accountable, and that is the football.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. I think you're totally right about that from that aspect. Brad White, defensive coordinator. We found out today, Faulkner, I'm not going to say the Buster Faulkner, offensive coordinator, got hired today. You're there. You're in Gainesville. What have you heard? Give us an update. And what's the reaction of what you're hearing from
Well,
everything?
I think Faulkner runs. I think, obviously Brad White, a lot of people are like, huh, Brad White, until you let them remember that when they were, Kentucky was kicking Florida's teeth in, he was the defensive coordinator. That's number one. Like I said, let's keep the football. He's not a name, I mean, no, guys like Wink Martindale, my homeboy, my boy Wink at Michigan, Donnie Martindale's, we knew him.
Yeah.
God, there's names out there, Matt Patricia, obviously, but Brad White is a guy who, I'll be interested. They'll probably run out with a lunch pail as the defense. He just puts his head down, and they have one of the more physical defense. I mean, you guys remember, I told somebody pound for pound over the last 10 years, maybe 5 out of those 10 years, Florida pound for pound, if you look at the number 3 stars versus the number 5 stars, had as physical a defense as anybody in the country. I mean, you lined up against Kentucky, you had to bring it. Faulkner, I think what I like is he runs a very, what I call, herky-jerky kind of offense. He runs a lot of hem throws. He runs a lot of, misdirection, but then it comes out the back door on you. I like that kind of stuff because I think it's easy for your quarterback to get into the groove, and it lets his talent shine. So if you look at the quarterback, Connor Wegman, that they got now, his ability to run that offense, very similar to DJ, similar size, things like that. He's had some success, and you talk about it's not pretty, but the numbers, the numbers show. And you look at a guy that, I mean, they should have beat Georgia last year, and I think they played pretty well. I didn't watch the game, but I think it was pretty, they was in the mix this year, correct?
Yeah,
With
I
Georgia?
think so.
I think I like the hire. Were there better guys out there? I'm not sure. But once again, there's some really good football coaches out there, and he's done a nice job. I mean, done a nice job there. I mean, Brent Key's going to get an extension. One of the reasons will be Buster Faulkner.
I said at the beginning of our show, by the way, he's Rob Brown of SEC Sidelines. He's Lauren Meadows, Lowdown with Lauren Meadows. You're truly the animal. Have Full Cup of Joe coming at you live on Facebook, X, YouTube Live. Got questions? Post them in the chat room. We'll try and get to them in just a couple of minutes. I said this, and I asked Rob, I'm going to ask you, what is most impressive about the last 72 hours? The press conference that we had on Monday night, the signing day in which he grabbed up probably the number, according to 247 Sports, has the number 15 recruiting class, or the fact that he was able to get these offensive coordinators. I mean, to hold this recruiting class together and in such a small time frame, I would think that's the most impressive of it all.
I think the most impressive thing is, so far, everything he says is the right thing.
Yeah.
I think if you take the press conference, but not only that, you take his appearances on Sports Center, the Pat McAfee show.
I've not seen that.
He's the guy that I think gets it. Now, will he win? No. But what he's not going to do is hide behind the things that don't matter. He's going to take this full on. And I think he's the first coach really since Urban Meyer. And if you guys remember, maybe Dan Mullen a little bit to a point. And we really will never know what happened with Dick, because I'm still shocked Dan Mullen's not the coach at Florida. But step up and say, this is what we're going to do, and this is the brand of football we're going to play, and this is how we're going to play it, because I understand. He's the first person to say, I know what you guys want. You want an aggressive defense, but you want exciting offense, and that's what we're going to give you. And I'm a winner. I win. Now, he might have egg salad all over his face down the road, but I think, Rob, I mean, and you can quote me on, I just think that the confidence to step to and just say, man, this is what we're gonna do. We're gonna finish the job at Tulane, be responsible to our young men there, and then we're gonna turn our focus to winning right now.
Yeah, before we get to Rob real quick, someone had a chance to meet with Tulane media, and he told the Tulane media, he said, look, I want our Tulane recruits to sign with Tulane. I'm not going to pick the letter from them to bring them to Florida. Those are my guys for Tulane, and I want them to stay here. And Rob, when you hear that, this man is could be a pretty respectable guy.
Yeah, and he is. And the thing that I think he'll win quickly. Go back to when he at Troy in 2 years, he was 21-3. And I know a kid, he's a friend of mine's son. He was going to walk on and was talking a lot with Sumrall. When Sumrall went to Tulane, he just decided not to. But I mean, the kid was hopeful because he's about to transfer to Auburn. Sumrall would be the coach there. This is a guy who has the best relations with the high school coaches imaginable. You just don't understand what people think about this guy. He is held in such high regard. He's a badass. He ain't going to take crap off of anyone, and his team's not. The players, you know what he's going to do? He'll tell a kid, if the kid wants to get in the portal, he'll go, let me help you, because that's just going to free us up more money to go buy someone to replace. I really don't care. He doesn't. Just like Auburn's telling Cam Coleman, you want to go to the portal? Good. That's $2 million to go buy somebody else. You decide what you want to do. Alex Golesh, don't play games with these kids. And I'll tell you right now, the Gator fan base has never stopped showing up.
No, they haven't. I mean, we saw them.
They're there. They're always there. He knew that. John's wife graduated from Auburn. This guy's Kentucky grad. They know what's going on at Florida. Mm-hmm. John's got like 3 kids. He is a guy that's going to he's going to open Florida football back up to the fans. Don't be surprised if he doesn't have some fan days. Maybe even open up a practice or 2. John Hartwell on.
I would not be surprised. I would not be surprised.
Don't be surprised. Because he's like, look, this is a state university, people. It's your school.
Amen.
This is not the Berlin Wall or Moscow where they got the Iron Curtain.
Mm-hmm.
God, it's a state university, and these kids that come here, you support them. Look, you can tell me TV, all they want to see is the games. No, it's the crowds and the atmospheres that make SEC football. Look at the numbers coming out. The SEC going to this 9-game schedule. It's kind of scary, but remember this. The SEC went with Disney, ABC, ESPN, SEC Network, all under one umbrella. You've got a bifurcated deal in the Big Ten. Fox has 61% ownership, of the Big Ten Network. The Big Ten Network and CBS. Brad, oh my God. Brad and Gary are just in depression having to broadcast some of these awful Big Ten insomniac games. I mean, like sleep cookies. I'm telling you, look at the numbers at the SEC. The SEC is curb stomping the Big Ten because the SEC has a contiguous footprint. So the rivalries are still there. And Texas and OU already had rivalries with Arkansas, with Oklahoma, with LSU, with Texas A&M. It was a brilliant stroke of genius. And you know what? I'm telling you what, going forward, 80% of the TVs in America live in the footprint of the Big Ten. But the SEC gets the rivalries and the passion. And that's why this league is going to continue to be the tip of the spear.
Speaking of LSU, we talked about National Signing Day. It was announced today that the Gators have managed to flip I think he's a 4-star, Dylan Porter. They flipped him from LSU to Florida. I mean, what a grab to get by John Sumrall.
It's going to be, and they're going to be heavy in the transfer portal. I mean, he knows, but here's the other thing. Like somebody asked me, well, how's he going to do with the Florida high school coaches? the man is bent. You tell me he didn't recruit Florida guys at Troy. He didn't recruit Florida guys at Tulane. I know they recruited Florida guys at Kentucky. I mean, come on. Like that, you if you worth a salt as a recruiter, you get that. It's just like you go to every school in Florida. You go to every school, big boy school in Georgia. You go to every school in Ohio. You go to every school in Pennsylvania. I mean, that's what they do. Mike Peterson was up at the school I used to coach at a couple years ago, and they wasn't worth a fart, but they have one DN that could play at this level. He's at Kentucky now, and he could end up at Florida through osmosis there. That's what I'm saying. There's so many things that, and he's a guy. Who would you rather have walk in your living room? Billy Napier or John Summerall? Hell, even Lane Kiffin or John Summerall.
Speaking of Billy Napier, reports are out tonight that he may be the next head coach at James Madison University. So
the Dukes.
We will keep our eyes focused on that.
Yes,
and Bob, I want you to comment on this too. With Dave Caldwell stepping in as the new general manager, how are we going to foresee the future of the structure of the Florida Gator football program? Is it going to be Caldwell handling all the NILs, all the recruiting? Is it going to be Summerall's involvement? I mean, how's that going to happen? I mean, have you heard anything about that yet?
No, I cannot speak intelligently on that at all. Lauren, I'm sure, can much more than me. But what you'll see with Summerall, not nearly as many people on the staff. I mean, it's not going to be,
Oh, I hope not. Yes, I don't think we'll have that many people.
That was just ridiculous. And again, that's too many minds. You can streamline things, but Summerall's got a lot of platoon leader in him. That's what he's going to be like. And I'll tell you what's scary. You're right, Lauren. When he was at Troy, man, the high school coaches in Alabama love him. That's not good for Auburn and Alabama. Now he's at Florida. And Florida's always gotten kids out of Enterprise and the Wiregrass. They're going to get players, just like Auburn and Alabama are going to come to Florida. There's 400 players a year in the state of Florida. Florida might sign 12 kids in state, 15. What Summerall's going to do, though, he's going to, when Lauren hit on it, when he comes to the cafeteria, everybody's going to want to be around him. He's just cool. He's just cool. He's just got that kind of who's the great actor? Chris Tucker.
Chris Farley.
Who?
Chris Tucker, Chris Farley.
No, it's an actor. He looks kind of like Summerall. Summerall's a cool guy. He's good looking, big, 6'3". He's a
Chris Hemsworth.
That's right. I think so.
Thor.
He's that kind of personality. Mm-hmm. I mean, I know people that have had to deal with him. I was sitting there right next to him at the Tulane Memphis game, right on the field, watching him and Silverfield talk. And I'm like, he had his kids out there on the football field with him. He's talking to Silverfield. And I kind of at the time, kind of had an idea of what was going on. Like, what do you think you're going to do? I mean, that's what was going on. But we're fixing the fun is going to come back to Florida football. Don't sit there and say I'm a sunshine pumper. I'm not. I misread.
That's facts.
My first reaction to Billy Napier was low energy, and it was right.
Yeah.
Not that he isn't a hard worker. Low energy. When you were on this stage, the University of Florida, in a state with 23 million people and growing every day, football wise, number 1 or 2 in the country, best track and field programs, best overall athletic department in America. Let's be honest, 269 SEC championships. Georgia, second best all time, 151. Now, just keep in mind, Summerall now has the keys to that. And don't read too much in, and Lauren hit on it. The boosters run the show. They run it at Auburn. They run it at Alabama. Finest Gaston, Paul Jr., Stephen Rumsey. That's who runs Tuscaloosa. I know. I mean, it's connect the dots.
Harvey Dyke.
Harvey Updike? No, he's doing a dirt nap right now. He's been
that's right. He passed away. Hey, Lauren, real quick. I know Lauren has to step out a minute because I think he's doing another show. But before you go real quick. I want to just mention one quick thing. Will Billy Gonzalez be retained and be kept on the staff? What are you hearing?
It is mom, it is hush right now. It is not much. I mean, I haven't heard anything. I really haven't. I mean, truth be told, with my day job, I need to get out to some of my contacts and see what they've heard, because I haven't heard anything. The only thing that, I'm gonna say it this way. I would think that if Jaden Ba, I'll say it this way: if Jaden Ba is priority, then I would keep Jabbar Jalouk. If Dallas Wilson, Vernell Brown, Michael, J. Michael Sturdivant is priority, I would keep Billy Gonzalez. But that's me. But the first,
and we've already heard that Ball's going to stay.
First person I would hire. Well, definitely, he already mentioned keeping the Gator Made program, so I'm sure Savannah Bailey's going to stay. The next hire I make before I get into coaches, Katie Turner.
Yes, I was going to say the same thing. Katie Turner.
I got my coordinators. Katie Turner.
I would agree with that.
That's me personally, because if not, she's going to be recruiting against you. I mean, Alabama grad, Georgia, worked at Georgia. She ain't going to be lost on recruiting jobs if you don't want her. So be prepared to recruit against her if you don't keep her. So I would keep her just to keep her from going to the enemy.
One other note before you go: Wednesday, December 11th, the SEC schedule for 2026 is going to be released. Fair warning to let you know when the Missouri date is announced. I'm going to be there. We're going to get together. We're going to have dinner, and you better count on it, because that's what's going to happen.
so I got to come to Columbia again. I don't know. We'll see.
Oh, I'm
definitely going to Auburn.
So you are definitely a win.
Yeah.
But we'll see. Hey, I'm going to be on Tuesday. You can join me. That'd be great for a little bit. I know you have your show, but you can join me early on, and we'll talk more about the events. I know you got to go. Thank you so much for joining me. I
actually got to run to the store real quick for Miss Marshall before Buddy's show. So
go. We'll talk to you later on. All right, buddy.
Man. Be good, talk to you soon, Rob. All right.
See you later. I'm kicking you out. Lauren Meadows. Let me bring Rob back in here. How dare I? How can I do that? There we go. Okay. Rob Brown's still joined. I love Lauren.
How do you feel?
He brings it, tells it like it is. He makes no bones about it. I just love him. Hey, we got some games going on this week in our college football matchup. Friday, we got 4 games. Troy, James Madison, Kennesaw State, and Jacksonville State. I did not know this until later on. North Texas State will be at Tulane for a 7 o'clock matchup, Eastern time, 6 o'clock Central. I mean that I did not know that North Texas State was even ranked. So that's got to be a good game in itself. Yeah. And then we got 5 games on conference championships: BYU against Texas Tech, Miami against Western Michigan, Georgia at Alabama, SEC championship game, 3 o'clock on ABC, Central Time, by the way. Indiana will be at Ohio State, 7 o'clock on Fox, and you wrap up the night. Duke at Virginia on ABC. Then Sunday, the football playoffs will be announced. I want you to give me the one surprise team that you think is in and the one surprise team that gets out.
Oh, wow. Surprise team that's out. I mean, they're not even really in. It is Texas. They're not getting in. I mean, they got drilled 35-10 at Georgia. They got beat at Florida. And then you look at Vanderbilt, their loss was 30-14 at Alabama, and then 34-31 after being down by 3 touchdowns, coming back late at Texas. I think Vanderbilt would be a surprise in. And if they're not, it just tells me that the committee is not being truthful, and that they're looking at TV sets. And if they try to squeeze in a team like Texas, it's simply because there's 30 million people in the state of Texas. And there's a lot of Texas fans out there. Texas is a big draw. Even as a bad team, people still want to see nude photos of Marilyn Monroe 60 years later. It's just how they are. That's Texas. Texas is like a movie star that's, been dead or way past their prime. People still want to see them in their prime. And Texas, when they're rolling, that machine is hard to stop. I mean, Mac Brown, love that guy. We had him on the show in late September.
I'd love to talk to him sometime.
So much momentum that they've got. I mean, but I just want to see Diego. He deserves the Heisman. He's what the Heisman's all about. And I don't think Fernando Mendoza, he's just hasn't meant to his team what Diego's meant to Vanderbilt. They've never done in their history what he's doing there.
Mendoza's a quarterback at where? Indiana?
Yeah.
Okay.
He's from Miami, was at Cal Berkeley and transferred to Indiana. And his little brother is on the team at Indiana as well.
The receiver who caught the touchdown pass in the end zone the very last second a couple of weeks ago, I forget his name, but I mean that would go down as the single greatest play I've seen in college football.
No, I mean these are about the catch by Clarence Rutherford.
Yeah. In the end zone, the last second tiptoe. I mean that.
Come on. That in a meaningless game, and that's my point. Penn State is a train wreck this year. And I'll tell you what, Penn State cannot get a coach. You know what I think's happened? I think super agent Jimmy Sexton from Memphis has blacklisted Penn State because they fired James Franklin, and he's steering every coach he has away from Penn State. They are in serious trouble.
Well, speaking of that, we had reports, and you heard it last week here on Half Full Cup of Joe, about the possibility of Kalen DeBoer going to Penn State. You don't believe it.
No.
You don't believe that's going to happen. But I mean, and Kalen turned it down. Kalen said today at the press conference nothing happened. But
Gary Harris was on the show this morning, Tide 100.9 WVUA Channel 23 in Tuscaloosa. He does Tider Insider with Rodney Orr, TV show every Tuesday at 6:30 on YouTube. Gary said, look, I live in Tuscaloosa. I'm here. I've been here a long time. I think there was some real possibility, real truth to that if Auburn had won that game and Auburn once again just found a way to lose, God, they're good at it. They're so good at finding ways to lose. 5 straight losing seasons. It's just miserable. But he said he very likely may have said, life's too short to just take this and I'm out of here. And so, but they won, and he's staying until the next time they lose, and they'll be ready to get rid of him. It's just the pressure. Being a football coach at Alabama is like being a crab that they're about to put in the big boiling pot. Once you get in there, you can't wait to get out. But it's like that every day in Tuscaloosa, every single day.
And I go back to a saying that it's not. You don't want to be the one that replaces the legend. You want to be the one that replaces the person who replaced the legend. Because that person that replaces the legend, DeBoer replacing Nick Saban, that's the man that really gets on fire. And then, I kind of feel bad for DeBoer. I kind of like him. I'm not there being an Alabama fan. I'm always going to be a Gator, true blue, tried and true. But I just.
Yeah, I mean, and I've got to go here in a minute, but I'm going to say this. I think that Daryl Mudra, that was a household name. Daryl Mudra, remember him?
Never heard of him.
He was the coach at Florida State before Bobby Bowden came in. But that
was before my time.
It was a household name, Daryl Mudra. Woo! But I tell you, the coach that my friend, the late Ed Williams in Memphis, was the sports editor of the Auburn Plainsman in college. His parting column when he left was, "Hey, Shug, why don't you let Alabama win one every once in a while, or else they might go hire him a real coach." And they went and hired Coach Bryant the next year in 1958. Damn it.
Speaking of Florida State, there are a lot of rumblings that some coaching changes are going to be made, and one of them may be Gus Malzahn.
Sure, why
What
not?
are you hearing the same thing,
Yeah,
same rumors that I'm hearing too?
And remember, Norvell was a GA for Gus in 07 and 08, the year after he left Arkansas after the 2006 start.
Oh,
Norvell was his graduate assistant. Norvell played at, I think, University of Central Arkansas. I think he played for the
wow.
Bears there in Conway. But that's going to be a tough one to fire the guy that gave you. But look, Gus will go on and pick his nose and wear a sweater vest and come up with plays that are scripted and have a good game or two wherever he goes. People will then figure him out. And it's, Gus, he buried the Central Florida program after he left Auburn in ruins by not recruiting offensive linemen for years. There's two coaches I don't understand how they keep getting jobs as offensive guys. Kurt Roper, I call him the Grim Reaper.
Oh my gosh.
Oh my gosh.
Don't bring that name up.
And
oh
Gus
my God.
Gus Malzahn. I mean, but bottom line is Gus, he had a good thing at one time, but he's like Bobby Vinton, a one-hit wonder. Mac the Knife. How many other songs did Bobby Vinton? I don't know. Or, Danny Partridge or whatever. The Partridge Family. I think I love you. I mean, what else did he do?
You just gave me nightmares when you said the name of Kurt Roper.
Yes,
okay,
the Grim Reaper.
Wait a minute. He used to be offensive coordinator at Florida. I don't know if you remember.
And the entire staff.
Oh my gosh.
What was Billy Joel's great song? And we will all go down together.
Yes,
I don't think he's the worst coach ever. I just don't understand it. I tell you who's one of the best coaches, that quarterback coaches and build. I think David Cutcliffe, when he left Tennessee,
yes,
they were not the same. Oh, I love David.
Yes,
Cutcliffe. What a
I
good
love
guy.
David Cutcliffe. I don't know what he's doing now.
He's in Birmingham now in the SEC office, and he fields calls Monday mornings after games from disgruntled coaches, which is a long list.
So he must be in charge of officiating or something like
that. He relays concerns to the higher ups about the officials, which
I see
are a little bit, under scrutiny. Yeah, but anyway,
I'm gonna be on Tuesday. Do you think you can join me? Okay.
What, 7 o'clock?
7 o'clock, same time. Let's shoot for Tuesday, and we'll talk more about the playoffs and our pick for the Heisman, and we'll get all that. So
Heisman voting is, I think, coming up this Saturday. It's a 48-hour window. Yeah, we're gonna see
about. How does that work? Hey, how does that work?
They just put the ballots out, and it's done electronically, and you put your vote in. But we're going to talk tomorrow.
Is it like? But do they send it out at a certain time, or is there a window for that? Like
they put it out. No, it's. I think it's coming up this weekend, maybe. But it is a. Let's see here.
Yeah, I've always wondered how that. I always wonder how that works.
I don't know, but I've got Mark Schlabach on the show in the morning from ESPN.com and Roman Harper from SEC Network. So I'm going to ask Mark. Mark covered that Saban thing. I'm sorry, Saban, the Kiffin thing. So we'll get a definitive answer on that. But
yeah,
I would love. This is fun. We'll get an answer.
It really is. I've had a lot of fun. Thank you so much for joining me. I really do appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
And we'll see you on Tuesday, my friend.
Yeah, and don't forget, remember the Titans, remember the Rebels, the coachless, the orphans, the Ole Miss Rebels, America's new favorite team. They're coachless, they're Kiffinless, not kittenless, but Kiffinless. I'm out of here.
All right, man. I'll see you on Tuesday, man. Thank you so much, Rob Brown of SEC Sidelines, joining me on this edition of Half Full Cup of Joe. Well, we've talked so much about the Florida Gators. We've not into anything with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Okay? And as you know by now, they took on the Arizona Cardinals last Sunday. They defeated Arizona. Final score in that game, if I remember, was a 20-17 as Jacoby Brissett was able to throw for 301 yards against the Tampa Bay defense. Let's see here. See if I can get stats from the game. But I mean, it was just a. I mean, it was just the Bucs almost lost it. I'm not gonna lie, the Buccaneers almost lost that game, and but they were able to come away with the win. As I said, it was 20-17 final score in that ball game. Let's see here, and in the game, um, Baker Mayfield 18-28, 194 yards, one touchdown, no INTs. Bucky Irving, his first game back, 17 carries, 61 yards. As we said for Jacoby Brissett, 29 and 40 for 301 yards, two touchdowns in the game, one INT with McBride having the most receptions, 8 catches for 82 yards and a touchdown in the game. Chris Godwin had one catch for 79 yards. And the Cardinals had 380 yards to 279 total yards. Arizona have 4 penalties. Bucs have 5. Not much in penalties. And the time of possession was evenly matched. So all in all, it was a half decent game. Now for the Buccaneers, they would take on the New Orleans Saints this weekend in a game that, it's going to be, I believe it's going to be at home. I'm not sure. Let me check that in just a minute here. Hang on. I believe that game will be, yes, it is at Tampa. It's a 12 o'clock kickoff time. Jalen McMillan is practicing. Mike Evans is practicing. So there's a chance that those two may be back for the weekend. And also Tristan Moore, if he has an injury, oblique injury, I believe, but at this point, it's not known whether he is going to play. 1 o'clock kickoff at home, 12 o'clock Central Time. Let's go with the games for the weekend. Dallas is at Detroit. I'll get you a score here in just a minute or two. Let's go with the games for the weekend. See if I can bring that up here real quick. Hang on here. All right. There we go. Let's see here. Seattle will be at Atlanta. Cincinnati will be at Buffalo. Washington will be at Minnesota. Miami at New York. Indianapolis at Jacksonville. Pittsburgh will be at Baltimore. Now, for the 3 o'clock games, for the 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock games, you'll have Denver be at Las Vegas. 3:25 Chicago will be at Green Bay. The Rams will be at Arizona. And then for the nightcap will be Houston Oilers. Listen to me. Houston Texans will be at the Kansas City Chiefs. It's a must game for Kansas City. A loss by them could very well put them out of the playoffs for the first time in over 10 years. By the way, 3:35 to go in the first half. Detroit has a 17-6 lead over the Dallas Cowboys. Monday night, we'll have the Philadelphia Eagles against the Los Angeles Chargers. And that should be maybe like a decent game. Vince Strassi. We're going to see what happens there. I want to thank everybody for joining me on this edition of Half Full Cup of Joe. Been on nearly an hour and a half. I want to thank Rob Brown of SEC Sidelines for joining me. I want to thank Lauren Meadows, obviously, all the people that have been watching and have been liking my show, including Hal Jeffries, Michael Burton, Brendan Martin, Vince Gerasi, and Jimmy Thomas, my whole high school roommate. Not roommate, but my whole high school buddy. I've known Jimmy for a long time. I don't know if he wants to say that he knows me, but that's another story all in itself. Now, because of some other events that are happening next week, we're going to do our show on Tuesday night. We'll have Rob again, hopefully have Lauren Meadows again, talk about the playoffs, who's going to be playing where. It's going to be very interesting to see what happens and who's going to get the Heisman a week from this Saturday. and possibly more announcement on who the Gators are going to be having on their coaching staff. It's been great, been fun. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Have enjoyed it. If you're watching me on Facebook, hit that like button, like my guest did earlier. Thank you for watching. It has been great. We'll see you Tuesday night. As I always like to say, if you're not a Gator, you're primed to be Gator bait. Good night, everybody. God bless. And also, go Gators. Have a good night, everybody.
Thanks for joining Joe Fulford on Half Full and a Cup of Joe. Don't forget to tune in next time for more football talk, analysis, and fun. Follow us on social media to stay up to date on all things Half Full and a Cup of Joe. And remember, always keep your cup half full and your team spirit full. See you next time.